Following a tragic catastrophe involving a space cruise liner, a salvager heads towards a planet in exchange for money to save some of the passengers. Will he be able to finish his task in the face of unknown perils and the planet's dictator? The story, which takes place in the early 22nd century, shows how far humanity has evolved. Even ocean cruising appears dull. These days, space travel via space cruise ships is what wealthy people choose instead. Moreover, some planets were designated as emergency landing zones, in case the need arose, in order to guarantee the passengers' safety. Therefore, planets that possess characteristics that make them habitable for humans are referred to as Earth-type planets, or E-type planets. As the cruise ship Starliner X-Ray 370 is traveling through space to the Cairns Nebula in the Galileo system one day, it is struck by nebular lightning bolts. As a result, the emergency procedures are started, and all the passengers go into the escape pods, in order to land on adjacent E-types. Currently, one of the escape pods containing Nova, Rena, and Megan, stunning women's, touched down on Planetary 11. The announcer there tells the three women to stay where they are because aid is on the way, and their location has already been determined. Still, it doesn't take long for the locals to notice them. The three Earthers flee in fear, but the hostile planet's inhabitants rapidly track them down, and attempt to capture them. Fortunately for them, a group of guys known as the Slavs, who also appear to be Earthers, show up and drive the locals to flee. A salvage operator by the name of Wolf intercepts an alert signal regarding the Starliner X-Ray 370 incident, when he is back in orbit. But because his ship's communicator is malfunctioning, he is unable to comprehend the message in its entirety. But he wakes up the ship's engineer, Chalmers, right away and asks her to fix it, when it's mentioned that there's a reward of 3,000 mega credits. Chalmers responds that she's always wanted to fix it, but Wolf wouldn't let her, suggesting that the two of them have a sensuous relationship. Chalmers completed the correction shortly after, just in time for the message to be reiterated. After knowing all the important details, Wolf recognizes the planet's name and asks Chalmers to look into Planetary 11. Wolf thinks that Earthers once established a colony there, but the entire enterprise was put in jeopardy by sickness. Chalmers' analysis indicates that the aforementioned planet was in fact inhabited in 2013, and in 2021 it was overrun by a planet-wide epidemic. That's why, the following year, an interplanetary medical mission was tasked with managing the pandemic. But it didn't work out because Patterson and McNabb, the expedition's leaders, couldn't agree. In the end, this caused McNabb, also referred to as Overdog, to turn on Patterson and take over as the planet's ruler. The entire medical mission came to an end in 2031 as a result. Wolf, however, ignores this knowledge and tells Chalmers to head out for Planetary 11, hoping to return richer than when he started. After traveling for some time, Wolf and Chalmers decide to continue traveling on wheels and put the ship on autopilot, to descend into the planet's interior. As they cross the rails on the manned scrambler, they witness the scavenger train approaching them in the shape of what appears to be a pirate ship. They see Nova, Rena, and Megan there, but just when Wolf believes that saving them will be simple, the train is ambushed by a different faction known as the Zoners. When Wolf sees this, he decides to join the battle and leaves Chalmers in the scrambler while he heads to the train. Sadly, Wolf misses the fact that she was shot to death. Speaking of whom, he also misses the ladies since they are captured by the other gang, the Vultures, who have people paragliding through the air. Once the party of attackers has left and things have calmed down, an injured old man confuses Wolf for McNabb and holds him responsible for all the negative events that have occurred on Earth. It turns out that Patterson is an elderly man. Wolf receives an apology from Jarrett, his guy, for what the elderly man has been babbling about. Moreover, he finds out from him that the women will be brought to the zone, which is headed by Overdog, the Scab's sworn adversary. Wolf returns to the scrambler at this point, and discovers the deceased Chalmers. But instead of expressing regret, he just says that she was the greatest model to ever be published. Then, when Wolf hits a button, causing Chalmers' body to dissolve, it is revealed that she is only a gynoid, and he drives off in search of the zone. Wolf discovers what appears to be a camp, with tracks going to its entrance. Throughout the course of the following few hours, he follows them, stumbles as he tries to open the door, and is horrified to see bodies inside. He hears the scrambler's engine starting at that moment, so he dashes outside and discovers Nikki, a teenage girl, trying to steal his car. Wolf already knows that Nikki is lying when she tells him that she will tell him about her father if he damages her. Aware that he won't be able to make it to the zone without her, she volunteers to be his tracker in return for food after being busted. Wolf nods grudgingly after giving it some thought, and the girl joyfully leaps into the backseat. Wolf notices that Nikki smells as they are traveling, and decides to open the door to let the stench out. Wolf gives Nikki a blanket to sleep on only after she finishes eating, and later, after preparing food for her, he relaxes in his sleeping bag. Before being given over to Overdog, Nova, Rena, and Megan are taken to the pharmacy first. He is the Zoner's leader and the right-hand guy to Overdog. He sees the women right away, and is struck by how youthful, gorgeous, and flawless their skin is. He believes Overdog will be happy with them. As a result, the chemist prepares to take the women to his employer, after giving them pacifying medication. When Wolf wakes up the following morning, he is taken aback to see Nikki standing by his side, giving him a hug. He drags Nikki to a neighboring pond and makes her take a bath, after realizing he can no longer stand the way she smells. Nikki tries to fight back at first, but eventually she does what he says. She weeps, though, because Wolf has treated her so badly since their initial encounter yesterday. They hear a car approaching unexpectedly, so Wolf orders Nikki to put everything back on the scrambler while he makes contact with the driver. He then spots a car that resembles a plow, and the driver appears intent on hitting him. With quick thinking, he has the driver wreck his car, uncovering a man named Washington, who appears to be acquainted with Wolf. He waits for the perfect opportunity, then grabs Washington's gun and points it at him. The two are in fact acquainted, as they were once co-workers in the military. Then it is revealed that Washington is out there hunting for the three women as well. Insisting that he will require a partner for this task, he convinces Wolf that they should collaborate, and offers to give him 750 mega credits afterward. Nikki now says that she and Wolf are already partners. Washington is left stranded to fix his car by himself, when Wolf rejects his offer by tossing his gun into the sea. Wolf explains to Nikki that they are not partners when they are traveling. He also questions her about it after noticing that she is becoming frightened and nervous. Refusing to acknowledge her fear, Nikki argues that she is becoming closer to the chemist the closer they approach the zone. She claims that, for a very long time, she has been escaping him. The two search for a place to spend the night, when the sun goes down and come across an abandoned building. Wolf and Nikki head to the highest floor, where they eventually call it a night, and he allows her to sleep in the sleeping bag. However, a peculiar noise in the vicinity wakes them up. When they check on it, they are startled to see mutant humanoid cocoons that have already begun to peel. Further, several altered humans are also blocking their only path downward. Wolf and Nikki are forced to use the wires in order to slide down the scrambler and get out of there as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, the bad things don't stop there. Not long after, they discover themselves traveling through what appears to be a swamp, surrounded by trees that resemble tubes. Now that they know if the path ahead is deep or shallow, Nikki descends the scrambler to lead the route on foot. To their shock, though, a hand unexpectedly grabs Nikki and pulls her beneath the surface, while women with Amazonian features begin to reappear around Wolf. He is plainly not scared at all by their attempt to frighten him, by saying that they will use him as a breeding guy. When Wolf notices that one of them is attacking Nikki, he dives to try to save her. Sadly, he simply gets entangled in the Amazonian web as well. The women are scared away by a water dragon that appears out of the water after they are hung in mid-air. With a swift movement, Wolf escapes his net and kills the dragon by shooting it in the throat. They shoot down Nikki's net and flee right away, avoiding being captured by the Amazonian again. They manage to escape by using the tunnel that Wolf, fortunately, notices above them, which takes them outdoors into the scorching sun. In the absence of the scrambler, the two of them must walk in the intense sun without any water. Nikki informs them that the water they encounter on their journey is toxic, therefore, they are unable to drink it. And shortly after that, dehydration finally causes Nikki to pass out. This is how Wolf is compelled to carry her, despite the fact that he is likewise growing weaker and weaker. Nevertheless, as fate would have it, improbable assistance shows up, in the shape of a vehicle resembling a plow, driven by none other than Washington. He takes advantage of their predicament by taunting the two, as he watches them on the road, nearly killing them, before providing them with water. He said he followed them to the tunnel, where he located his scrambler and dragged it all the way to that place. However, the 750 mega credit offer is still in place in exchange for the car and the water, and he will give him an additional 200 mega credits if he flies him off Planetary 11. Wolf now understands that he is stuck on this planet, since Washington destroyed his ship. He has been frantically trying to work with him all along because of this. Wolf knows this and uses it to his advantage by making a counteroffer. They will divide the 3,000 mega credit prizes into half after they get the girls and take them off the planet. Washington, out of alternatives, takes him up on his offer, and the two of them set out to travel to the zone. Meanwhile, Overdog is kindly offered Nova, Rena, and Megan by the chemist for his enjoyment. Right at that moment, Overdog appears, looking like a cyborg with enormous mechanical hands that resemble claws. When the dictator sees them, He is impressed and doesn't waste any more time sullying himself with the sight of the attractive women before him. Returning to the three, they pause to take a little break, just beyond the zone. There, Washington discusses his plans to spend the reward money, stating that he will purchase 2 gynoid in the same way as Chalmer did. He then asks Wolf what he intends to do with his money, to which Nikki interrupts and responds that she is at a loss for ideas on how to use her portion of the prize. Washington asks, "What are you talking about?" Seeming confused. Nikki leaves at that moment, realizing that after their task is over, she will be left alone once more. Conversely, Wolf tells Nikki up front that, as per their previous agreement, the only thing he will pay her is food. He says he doesn't want to spend the rest of his life taking care of her. Nikki sobs when she hears this, and Washington comforts her. Wolf, according to him, is simply the kind of guy who prefers to be by himself most of the time. Nikki, however, maintains that they should always stick together, because she is a loner too. Soon after he realizes he is mistaken, Wolf walks over to her and speaks to her, in a more measured manner. He says she can communicate with him at any time, and he will give her a ride if she ever wishes to go to another planet, after their job is over. Washington then interrupts them to let them know that someone is approaching. The three duck behind cover and get ready to shoot, but Wolf tells Washington that Jarrett and Duster are friends. It turns out that the 2 scavengers are merely taking a quick break from their mission to kill Overdog as they make their way to the zone. Washington advises that they eliminate them immediately, since he believes they will only complicate their task. Wolf, however, holds a different opinion and feels that they may be helpful in some capacity. They are all halted right now when they hear humming. Gazing upwards, they observe a group of kids with disfigured faces brandishing Molotov explosives. Washington and Wolf are appalled by their appearance, but they are even more taken aback when Nikki reveals that they are the results of the Overdog and Chemist studies. After that, the kids toss the bombs at them, chasing them out and breaking the blade on Washington's car. He becomes irate with Wolf about this and claims that he would have destroyed the scavengers long ago if they were still in the old days. The 2 scavengers are now headed to kill Overdog, because his truck has been damaged, which will undoubtedly come back to haunt them, and spoil their chance to save Nova, Rena, and Megan. Wolf responds by saying he is only attempting to make sensible choices, and not letting his feelings get in the way. That aids Washington in fixing his car, so they can swiftly return to their goal. After a while, the 3 find themselves at the cemetery, which serves as Overdog's bizarre gaming arena. Washington and Wolf attempt to enter the building covertly, but the guards discover them and inquire whether they have serum papers. After taking them out, they steal their clothes and pose as security, to enter the arena unhindered. There, they witness Overdog play with people's lives for amusement by letting a prisoner walk into a pit filled with hazards including fires, thorns, acid, and blades, as well as a car that may run them over. The first prisoner does not have a chance. He is impaled in the first trap and dies instantly. At this point, Wolf is able to finally make out where the dictator is keeping the 3 women, in a cage next to him. Soon after, they notice Duster racing towards them. While the soldiers are pursuing him, they stop them and inquire as to what transpired. The scavengers' scheme was inevitably foiled, and Jarrett was taken prisoner and would subsequently be buried. This prompts Wolf to devise a scheme that depends on their rescue efforts succeeding, and on saving Jarrett from certain death. In order to divert Duster from his plans to release Nova, Rena, and Megan, he gives Washington the order to assist in freeing the inmates. Following that, they parted ways, with Wolf and Nikki returning to the Scrambler to retrieve something beforehand. Then, saying that it is too risky and that he doesn't want Nikki to get wounded, he orders her to remain in the Scrambler. Nikki, on the other hand, followed Wolf shortly after his departure, and was apprehended by the guards. Washington, in the meantime, assumes the role of a guard and pretends to arrest Duster. When they see the proper moment, they remove the guards and set the others free. Then, to divert Overdog's attention, Washington blasts up the slave pen. Meanwhile, Wolf, who is also posing as a guard, moves closer to the 3 women's cage. After eliminating them and capitalizing on Washington's diversion, he ultimately succeeds in releasing Nova, Rena, and Megan. However, Overdog is not pleased with the current situation. He did, however, give the chemist a comforting gift, proposing Nikki to the tyrant. She will definitely satisfy his demands, he says, because she is a lot younger than the 3 he recently lost. With a glance at her, Overdog concurs with the chemist. To everyone's surprise, though, he gives the order to submerge Nikki, to struggle for her life in the pit. He promises to release her if she survives the maze and makes it out. She is then propelled into the lethal maze by that. Fortunately, Nikki thinks quickly and figures out how to get past each trap without getting hurt. But as she passes the final trap, the car suddenly appears in front of her, posing a risk of pushing her back into the thorns behind her. Wolf finally realizes that Nikki is in the pit at this point, and he gives Washington the order to get the 3 women out of there. Then, in an attempt to save Nikki, he shoots the car, allowing her to escape the maze unharmed. But Overdog appears and grabs her, acknowledging that she lied to him about letting her go. Unfortunately, the audience jumps on Wolf, due to the interference with the game, and he is powerless to stop Overdog from taking Nikki away. Overdog tells Nikki in his lab that he will take her life forcefully and give it to him. Nikki begs him to stop, but Overdog reminds him that he won't be around for very long, because of his youth. Meanwhile, the chemist is pleased with himself for having contributed to Overdog's long life. However, Wolf ends his own life as soon as he leaves the facility. After that, he dashes inside to battle Overdog, but his mechanical body protects him from his gunfire. With a swift thought, Wolf grabs a cable and uses it to electrocute Overdog, killing him. After frees Nikki, they manage to escape just as Washington's helicopter crashes into the building. With the entire gang aboard, they flee the cemetery as quickly as they can, arriving just in time for the area to blow up, which would have meant the end of Overdog's rule. They all head to Wolf's spacecraft, as the sun is rising, and Duster and Jarrett give him thanks for helping to free their world. Washington, meanwhile, is enjoying himself and making friends with Megan, Rena, and Nova. But Nikki's going to leave, so Wolf queries what's wrong. It turns out that she wants to accompany Wolf, but she's not sure if he's still interested in her. She is taken aback when Wolf expresses his desire for her to accompany him. As the ship rockets into space at the end of the film, Wolf has transformed into a wealthy man, who also acts as a father figure to a teenage girl. In light of its 1983 release, Space Hunter: Adventures in the Forbidden Zone accomplished a commendable job of remaining faithful to its genre. The movie manages to keep you entertained, even if none of the characters are really likable, and the buddies are just generic. This is a fun movie. Not any more, not any less. Thanks for watching, see you soon in the next video. Take care, and bye now.